Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bears Talk today. Justin, what happened yesterday, man?
It's over. Pack it up.
We are coming to you live from ACTV after yet another Bears loss. This one arguably more embarrassing than the first one. See, the first game, we actually played good for a half.
We did.
We let it slip away in the second half, and the Vikings came back and won. This one, I don't know if the defense got off the bus in Detroit. I don't know. Final score 52-21. The Lions over the Bears, spoiling Ben Johnson's homecoming in Detroit. It was a whole lot of ugly. When you give up 52 and you barely score 20, it's not a good day at the office.
No.
Not a good day at the office at all. There's a lot to unpack with this game.
Yeah. We're
going to get into it. But the number one thing, Justin, in my opinion, was the defense. The defense was dreadful. The defense, if we could talk about some of the key moments and key plays of the game. I mean, honestly, like the defense gave up so many points. Jared Goff, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. He didn't get sacked, did not fumble the football. For context, he had 156 passer rating. 158.3 is perfect. So he was this close to being perfect. It was a rough day at the office. There was just a lot going on. You said last week when we talked about it, they needed to stop the run. They did not.
No.
So before we get into kind of the nitty-gritty, we get some other stats along with the game, Justin, what was your analysis of this one?
Like you said, the Bears defense didn't get off the bus. They actually were still in Chicago. Their bodies were just in Detroit.
Yeah.
I just thought overall, I understand that, this is a very good team, and I understand that, they could have went to the Super Bowl last year. But I felt like after it really got away after halftime, I just felt like they just kind of gave up, right? I understand if you're down big, but if you're still not going out there, if you're still not rushing the passer, if you're still, allowing all these yards to, all these run yards to get past you, it doesn't add up for a good day. And I mean, I don't even know what I predicted for last week's score, but I did not expect it to be this horrendous. I mean, they were hungry. They came off of a very rough loss in week 1, came in week 2. You know how crazy Dan Campbell is. He bit off our kneecaps, respectfully.
He did. And speaking of biting kneecaps, we have a graphic to show you guys just how kind of insane. Our average yards per play, Bears averaged 5.3, Lions a whole 8.8. Penalties, again, were a problem for the Bears today, or yesterday, 8 penalties for 50 yards. Lions only committed 3 penalties, and the Bears had 2 turnovers in addition to 2 failed fourth down conversions. The Lions had 0. So when you want to talk about the game, those are some of the numbers that stick out to me. Like you said, the Lions came in. They were angry, right? You could tell there was a little animosity between the return of Ben Johnson, between their butt kicking last week at the hands of the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
There was a lot of emotions on this Lions team, and they channeled those emotions positively. They came in, and they looked like they have in the last couple of years. They looked like the offensive juggernaut. I will say, you talked about the second half giving up, and I agree with you. Justin, it was 28-14 going into halftime, and the Bears were getting the ball. Like, the game was not over at halftime. I know it sounds bad. I know the defense was getting their butts kicked. But the game was not over. If you go down and you get a touchdown, it's a one-score game.
Right.
It seemed like there was no kind of rallying. There was no adjustments made at halftime. I mean, the Lions scored at least 10 points in every single quarter. They went 14, 14, 10, 14.
Yeah.
They got in the end zone every single quarter at minimum. So it was an embarrassing effort. The other thing that stuck out to me, and this is a weird trend that I'm starting to notice, and again, trend, it's only 2 games, but in both games, the offense starts the game with a touchdown.
Yeah.
They drive down the field. They have a methodical drive, and it seems like that's their best drive of the game.
Yeah,
like they call it like the first 15. The coach game plans 10 to 15 plays on the call sheet, who are scripted. Everybody, you're practicing it all week. They seem like they're really good at the first 15.
Yeah,
they can go down the field, they get a score, whatever. Afterwards, it's like they just seem very disjointed. They seem very sloppy, and that was not something that I had expected from a Ben Johnson unit. I expected them to be tightened down. We mentioned the 8 penalties. I mean, you had 12 penalties. You had 20 penalties in the first 2 games.
That's crazy.
Unacceptable.
Yeah,
unacceptable. So I just think it's weird that the offense kind of is great out of the gate and then struggles the rest of the game. That tells me that maybe they're all not in sync as they should be.
No, I don't think they are, and that was actually my next thought too. I just didn't think the defense was as in sync as you had just said. I think also it's very similar to our first game, and even really that first game we kind of extended the play. We were aggressive for like the first 3.5 quarters, and then we just failed. So that's something that Ben Johnson and his coaches are going to have to look at is, okay, how can we be able to be consistent throughout the whole entire game? I know we have potential. I know we have great players on our team, but can we be able to hold it up? Can we be able to get through a half where we're down, or get through 3 or 4 quarters,
overcome some adversity?
Yes, exactly.
No, I totally agree with you, dude. And honestly, we talk about the offense. The topic of conversation every single week for this Bears team is going to be Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
How did Caleb Williams look? What were our thoughts on Caleb Williams? If we pull up his stats really quick, I mean, he went 19 of 30, completing 63% of his passes, lower than Ben Johnson. He wants him to be at that 70% mark, right? He's talked about that. 207 yards. He did throw 2 touchdowns. He did throw the 1 interception. 2 of those touchdowns were to Roma Dunze, who I thought did have a nice game statistically, but had a couple of drops, a couple key moments, like you said, kind of just deflating in the second half. And that interception he threw, I won't go as far as to call it a fluke interception because he did throw it, but I think he was trying to throw it out of bounds, and it caught too much of it went too far in play. Kirby Joseph was able to intercept it. But Justin, I mean, we have the stats pulled up. From an eye test standpoint, from what you saw from Caleb, what were your thoughts yesterday in Detroit?
I thought, coming, like you said, like we said earlier, like the first few drives, I felt like it was the first game. I'm excited. I'm thinking we're going to do something. And then it just kind of fizzled. I think definitely, he got 2 touchdowns, which is great, but they weren't. I mean, I guess the short pass to Rome, that was a good one.
Yeah.
But I really felt like, when it came to his performance, I just didn't think it was that great. Not as what, I understand that we lost this game badly. The Lions defense was on us a lot this game. He took 4 sacks. QBR was horrendous as well. But I feel like, there were some short flashes of Caleb is looking really good. But overall, I just didn't think it was a fantastic performance. I mean, the score kind of gives it away as, how badly they were behind anyway. So, Caleb's, stat line was going to look great. It wasn't like it was like the Rams and Chiefs game a couple of years ago when it was just a shootout, right? And it was just all these points being put up. The Lions defense contained Caleb, and that's a big issue for us going forward is how can we be able to actually compete against these Super Bowl playoff-bound teams. We're going to have to beat these guys eventually.
Yeah. Credit to Kelvin Shepard, the Lions defensive coordinator. I thought their defense did a good job, but I agree with you. I don't think Caleb was good enough. Was he terrible? No. Was he excellent? No. I thought he was a bit below the median line there. He was not good. And I think the other thing that is concerning to me, Justin, you look at the receiving distribution for the Bears. Roma Dunze had 7 catches, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great. DJ Moore had 46 yards. Cole Kmet had 29, right? Zacchaeus had 12. DeAndre Swift had 6 yards receiving. Luther Burden had 5. Colston Loveland. Did you make the trip to Detroit? I don't even know if Colston Loveland was in Detroit during the game.
Minutes.
I don't think I saw Colston Loveland, the guy that we just took with the top 10 pick. I don't think I saw him the entire game.
Yeah.
And that is a problem.
Too.
That is a problem.
Yeah.
He wasn't very involved last week.
No.
And he was certainly not involved this week. That needs to change and change fast.
Yeah.
He was brought into this offense to be a game-changing weapon. An elite tight end could really transform your offense.
It can.
We've seen that with the Chiefs. We've seen that with the Ravens and Mark Andrews. We've seen that with so many teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
Colston Loveland was brought in to be that guy. So far, he has not been. I don't know if that's a scheme problem. I don't know if that's a Colston Loveland problem. I don't know if that's a Caleb problem. Some's got to get fixed.
Yeah.
That we cannot be having Colston Loveland having 0 catches for 0 yards. That's unacceptable.
No.
Again, same thing with Burden. Burden 1 catch for 5 yards.
That's crazy.
Not good. We last year in the draft, we had 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. Colston Loveland, 0 catches.
Yeah.
Luther Burden had 5 yards. Trapillo, healthy scratch. Shamar Stewart was a healthy scratch. So where's the production that we're getting from these elite or these high-end draft picks?
Right.
What are we doing? Right? So this is starting to become a little bit concerning. I won't lie. I'm not totally pushing the panic button yet. And granted, me and Justin both predicted that we were going to lose this game.
Right. Yeah.
We knew that Detroit was going to bounce back. There's no way they had just gotten so much worse than last year, despite losing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. But this was this was some big brother, little brother activities. This was like, they're giving us a swirly and giving us a wedgie and, like like all that. Like this was straight bullying.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted this game to be competitive. I wanted it to be closer. Mm-hmm. Again, I did think the Lions' offense was really good. 52 points good. I thought we would be better than that. So I would say that I'm very disappointed in the overall effort from yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I will ask you, Justin.
Yeah.
We're both disappointed. We're both frustrated. We're both upset.
Yeah.
In your opinion, does this say more about the Lions being elite and the Lions still being a Super Bowl contender in the NFC, or does this say, hey, Bears are not where they need to be right now. They need to get better. Maybe the Bears aren't as good as we thought.
That's a good question. I think for me, it's the Bears aren't as good as we thought they were. And I think no one had a doubt in Detroit. I think there was a lot of questions after losing Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson, but there was no doubt that they still had their leader in chief, Dan Campbell. So there was no like big concern about the Lions are going to be. They're not going to make the playoffs or they're bad. Nobody was concerned about that. But what I am concerned about is us potentially going 0-3 in our next game. I mean, it's hard to have confidence in this team, especially how we ended off last year. We weren't even the same record we were last year. I mean, at least that gave us some false hope, right? So I think definitely overall it's just the Bears aren't as good as they're not where they're needed to be. I expected them to be 1-1. I didn't expect them to win a game against one of the top teams in the NFC. I just did not. The Lions are really good. But, like we said, there are key players that are not being, that are not producing. I mean, that will hurt your offense significantly. So I don't know if it needs to be Ben Johnson or somebody else on the coaching side that needs to say, hey, like, how can we be able to get these guys going and, make sure these guys are effective when they're out in the field. Yeah.
No, you talked about the fact that we're now 0-2, and I wanted to do a little looking up on that. Teams that start 0-2, Justin, in the expansion era, make the playoffs 12% of the time. Now, next week, and we'll talk about Dallas in a second. I'm not jumping the gun yet.
Yeah.
If we lose next week, teams that start 0-3 in the expansion era make the playoffs 2.5% of the time. We got to start racking up some wins.
We do.
We got to start racking up some wins. But, I mean, to kind of conclude this absolute dumpster fire of a game that the Bears just played, it was ugly on all fronts. Offense didn't do enough. Defense certainly didn't do enough. Jalen Johnson got hurt, which you just hope that he's going to be okay going forward. I know he's been pretty banged up over the summer.
Yeah.
But when Amon-Ra St. Brown is clocking his tee at us when he's doing that celebration in the end zone, and that's my celebration. That's my move, and he stole
your
that.
Move, man.
No, I mean when he's scoring 3 touchdowns, it's not fun.
No.
I won't lie. It's not fun. We have, I think to finish up this segment, we do have our post-game quote here from Ben Johnson. Didn't have a lot of good things to say, obviously. Wasn't happy with the way that things ended in the game. And obviously one of the key points was the fact that, hey, the Lions did go for it on 4th down later in the game. They scored a touchdown. People were asking him about it. Listen, I get it. I understand that we don't want people to run up the score.
Yeah.
A, I feel like the game was personal for the Lions.
Oh, for
and B,
sure.
Ben Johnson's right. They always go for it on 4th down. He was one of the guys who told him to do that. Like, he was the guy calling the plays last year. He knows they always go for it on 4th down. So we have a quote to pull up from Ben Johnson. He said, quote, "We have a lot of prideful guys. It's the second game of the season. When you're around the league long enough, these games happen. It doesn't feel any better when it happens, but the good teams I've been on find a way to respond, and I know our guys will do that." Trying just to find any sliver of optimism surrounding this game, and I think that's what good teams got to do. They're going to look at the film. Afterwards, they'll probably burn the film.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be a fun week at the office. Now let's transition, Justin, into talking, I guess, a more macro view of the NFL, talking in general. What were some of your thoughts on some of the teams, especially some teams that the Bears will play later on in the year? What were some of your key takeaways? Who, impressed you, who disappointed you. I'll kind of give you the floor for this one.
Sure, yeah. So I think my first one that was impressive, but also I feel like it's sheer luck. How about those Colts, man? I mean, I know they're not in our, it's AFC team, but I mean, I did not expect them to be 2-0.
Yeah, that is true.
And their wins have been like on the strike of luck. So it's like, man, they like barely skirted by. I am more shocked about, the Chiefs being 0-2. I'm not a big Chiefs fan, but I kind of hate them. But looking at that team, I mean, they just look completely different and beatable. I mean, you have the reigning Super Bowl champions. They come in, they beat you on your home floor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw the video of, I believe it was Chris Jones saying, "Oh, you don't even have 100 yards yet," and Jalen Hurts like, "Well, we won the game."
Yeah, I don't need 100 yards. Yeah, I run tush push all game. I don't need to throw for 100 yards. Yeah.
Exactly. So. And also, the Eagles are looking just as unstoppable as they did last season too. So, and we'll be facing them later on this year as well. But those were kind of just my my two big ones. I definitely, if I had to choose an 0-2 team, I probably would rather choose the Chiefs. At least you got Patrick Mahomes behind you.
True. Yeah, they'll win 13 of their next. They'll win 13 games. Yeah, they'll be fine.
They'll be fine. But what about you? Anything that you noticed in week 2 that was pretty interesting?
Well, I'll piggyback what you said about the Eagles for just 1 second. Eagles look great. We want to talk about stopping the run. Yeah. You got no chance against the Eagles if you don't contain Saquon Barkley.
No.
So that, I mean, they're very scary. We chalked that one up as a loss for the year. I think even now, I might have to bump that line up about 10 more points. I think, unfortunately, a team I thought looked excellent week 2 was the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
They can't keep getting away with it, Justin. They can't keep getting away with it. It's ridiculous. I mean, they feel like now a balanced offense. Mm-hmm. Jordan Love's doing just about. Last year I thought he was doing a little too much at certain points. He was kind of doing the most. Mm-hmm. They've got a steady run game. They got Jordan Love. I think Matthew Golden adds an element to their offense. Defensively, Micah Parsons is just a huge addition. I mean, he just makes that team so much better. Mm-hmm. And then one team that disappointed me that in turn also made me feel worse about the Bears was the Vikings. The Vikings did not look good at all last night.
They did not.
They scored 6 points against the vaunted Falcons defense, who had the fewest amount of sacks last year. I understand they invested a lot into the defensive line this offseason, but I thought they had trouble moving the ball. I thought the Falcons offense kind of ran all over them.
Yeah, it was
and it's disappointing to me because in the fourth quarter, J.J. McCarthy looked like Tom Brady. And then, they were able to run all over the Bears, and the Bears were not able to run on them.
Yeah.
So it's very disheartening to see the Falcons, who a team that I don't think is some elite Super Bowl contender, kind of totally flipped the script. And the game was in Minnesota as well. Mm-hmm. We had the advantage of being in Chicago in front of our home fans. They had the skull chants going. Yeah. They had the stadium rocking. In the beginning of the game, Michael Penix couldn't even hear the play call. They were getting delay of game penalties. Yeah. Didn't matter. They were still, well ahead of the Vikings. So disappointing for sure. Another future opponent of the Bears, the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, they won yesterday. Yeah, that's the definition of winning the battle but losing the war.
At what cost?
At what cost? Yeah, exactly correct. Joe Burrow is going to be out for about 3 months. We play the Bengals in early November, so certainly it will be Jake Browning who is at the helm.
Yikes.
And that, despite the Bears being 0-2, that flips my prediction to think that the Bears can win that game if they can figure something out, right? I mean, do anything. So. Yeah, I just thought some of those opponents, again, the division, the Packers especially, they look tremendous. Mm-hmm. They whooped up on Detroit. Detroit whooped up on us. It's a hard division, man. It's a hard life. Yeah. Obviously, the Bears start off the year with 2 divisional opponents, the Vikings and the Lions. Mm-hmm. Week 3, Justin, they get a different opponent.
How about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah.
In Jerry Jones' voice.
Yes.
Speaking of Micah Parsons, guess who no longer has Micah Parsons?
Exactly.
We get the positive end of this trade before we get the negative end of it.
Yes.
But yeah, Cowboys game preview. We'll go ahead and throw up the betting line and the over/under graphic. Cowboys at Bears games in Chicago. Thankfully, we need all the help we can get right now. Yeah. Bears are actually favored by 1.5, and the over/under for this game is going to be 48.5 points. Mm-hmm. Now, I was trying to rack my brain and think, why would the Bears be favored over the Cowboys? The Bears have not looked good. They've looked disjointed. Mm-hmm. Well, when you lose to Philadelphia, I mean, that happens.
Yeah.
No shame. Mm-hmm. And then you take the Russell Wilson-led Giants in Dallas to overtime.
He was crazy that game, too. Yeah.
Justin, when you think of Russell Wilson's career, you think of all his good years in Seattle, my guy, my man.
Mm-hmm.
Would you believe me if I told you that yesterday he set his career high in passing yards?
I wouldn't have believed you. I would have thought it was Madden.
He was basically playing Madden. He was just chucking deep balls the whole game, and Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors were down there. Now, it bit him in the end because he threw that interception in overtime, which, if you know Russ, you know he's due for one of those a game when he's in his let Russ cook mode.
Mm-hmm.
But he was, for 99% of the game, he was slicing and dicing, and he was uncorking those deep balls, and Malik Neighbors was wide open.
Yeah.
I had Malik Neighbors in fantasy. I can't
Cooked.
lie. I was a fan.
Yeah.
But Bears are favored in this one, Justin. Before we get into our actual score predictions, we're going to be some of the keys to beating Dallas and getting our first win of the season.
I would say we have to be able to contain Dak Prescott, which is insane to say, but he looked really good.
He's looked good both games.
He's looked good both games. And, it's a lot of drama and scrutiny around the Cowboys, with letting Micah Parsons go and, just Jerry Jones in general. So I think this is a motivated Dak Prescott that you're going to see for this season. So I think for us, we really have to be able to contain him. We have to be able to contain CeeDee Lamb as well. It's very similar to how the Vikings game plan was, right? You go after McCarthy, you go after Jefferson, you go after the two best offensive weapons and hope that you can get – I think I'm more – honestly, bro, I'm more concerned about the offense more than the defense.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care if it was 40-41 and we win, but we have to be able to be consistent after the first and second quarter. We can't just have one good drive and then we have 25 terrible drives and we lose the game. And I think that's just the biggest thing for me. Can our offense really be able to get past this Dallas defense, and can Caleb get others going? I know Rome Odunze is going to have his his catches in his game. That's really great, but can we get Loveland? Can we get Kmet? Can we get DJ Moore? Can we get any of those guys involved in order for us to win the game?
Yeah, no, I love what you said. I think Dallas's offense is actually legitimately really good.
Yeah.
Their offensive line is solid. Tyler Smith just got paid, one of the highest guards in the NFL now. Dak, as we mentioned, has been good. Javonte Williams has been awesome at running back. He's been very productive. And obviously they have CeeDee Lamb with now a nice complement of George Pickens.
Yeah. Right.
We haven't seen a crash out yet. Maybe it happens in Chicago. Who knows? But this Dallas offense is very good. Our defense is going to need to step it up very much. Now, on the other side of the ball, Dallas is not great.
No.
Dallas's defense is
horrendous.
I would venture to say horrendous.
Yeah.
Now, if only they had, a generational pass rusher, a guy who could fill some holes on this defense, a guy who could consistently get after the. They don't have that though, so we're not going to spend time talking about that. But
exactly.
No, I agree with you. Like our offense needs to look good against the Cowboys.
It does.
If we can't get things going against this Cowboys defense, we got to start pushing the panic button.
We do.
This is going to be some serious stuff that we got to have to figure out.
Yeah.
The other point I want to make is, and I mentioned this when we did our preview episode for the season.
Yeah.
And I'll look right into the camera when I say this. If Matt Eberflus walks into Chicago and beats the Bears with Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, we got to just fire everybody.
Sell the stadium.
Fire the McCaskies. Yeah. Fire Ben Johnson.
Move the stadium. Already,
trade Caleb to the UFL. Like, we got to whatever. If Matt Eberflus walks into Chicago and beats the Bears, I might get kicked off the air next week. They're gonna have to drag me out of here with a dolly. I am going to be on fire. Now, if we score like 45 points and we lose, like you said, like if it's like 41-40, okay, we kicked their defense butt, whatever.
Right.
Still disappointing that we lost, but
yeah.
But if Matt Eberflus comes in and like he's coaching the 85 Bears and the offense scores like 16 points, I'm going to be irate. So I'm just warning you.
Yeah.
I don't know what the security looks like around here, but we're gonna have to upgrade that. But I'll calm myself down a little bit. And my heart rate's getting a little high. But no, the key to this game, I agree with you, Justin, is going to be offense getting back on track.
Yeah.
And the defense doing enough against Dak Prescott on the offense. Cowboys defense is not good.
No.
Cowboys offense is very good. There's that balancing act. I do think the over-under of 48.5 will be exceeded. I do think that's the case. And again, the Bears being 2-point favorites is largely because they're at home.
Yeah.
Right. The conventional betting wisdom tells you get 3 points for being at home. This game's probably a pick-em if it's at a neutral site. And the Cowboys are probably favored by a point and a half if it's in Dallas. Games in Chicago, I think that does help. So I think we really need to emphasize the fact that playoffs might be out of the window if we lose against Dallas. And we're 3 weeks into the season, and I know that sounds dramatic, and I know that it sounds, oh my God, you guys are you're giving up, you have no hope. Statistically speaking, what did I say? It was 2.5% of teams that start 0-3 make the playoffs. 2.5%. We're also in the toughest division in football. We also have to play out of division. We have to play the Eagles. We have to play the Ravens. We have to play, a team like the Steelers. Right? We do not have an easy schedule going forward. This is not like we don't have like cupcakes. We don't get to play the Browns every week. Right. Okay, that's no shade to the Ravens. You guys kick butt, but we don't get to play the Panthers. All right, we have a tough schedule. So, Justin, we lose to Dallas, season's over. I think. Can we say that confidently? Season's over.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it because I just think that if it'll feel just like how it felt in week 1. If we can't win against an opponent that is questionable with their offense and defense, that's a problem. That means we can't win against anybody. I can, if it, like we said, if it was Eagles, Ravens, or a top AFC or NFC team, then I'd be like, you know what, we're not better than them right now. I expect us to lose. But if we come out here and we go 0-3, or we blow a lead, or we just get trampled by the Cowboys, I think there will definitely be some flags. There will definitely be some questions. I know somebody in the Nick D from the YouTube live stream said, "Don't fire Ben Johnson yet. He's a good coach."
I was exaggerating. I was just being dramatic by that point. Fire everybody else. Fire Dennis Allen. Fire all the coordinators. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but I mean, I think even though we won't fire them, if it was up to us, the media, there will be.
Oh yeah.
The more we lose and we don't get our first win of the season, the more scrutiny that Ben Johnson's going to go under, and the more pressure that's going to be on him. So yeah, we need to win.
I would also argue, Justin, that, and I got to be careful the way I say this. I would also argue that both the Lions and Vikings are not only better teams, but I think in the public perception should have beat the Bears. Yeah. I think this Dallas team is one where it's like, all right, this is where you guys got to win.
Yes.
You got to win. Like, you have to beat the Cowboys. I don't think there's any excuse. If I have to see Cowboys fans in our comments, okay, that's the other thing. Man, yeah. I get it. And I love Cowboys fans. Okay, I do. I'm very close to one of them. She's diehard. She'll be at the game on Sunday. But if I have to hear Cowboys fans after this game, Justin, my gosh.
It's oof. Yeah.
If I have to hear "We Dem Boys" one more time, I'm gonna lose it. But all right, let's wrap it up. We're almost done with the episode. This was just kind of us just rambling about how bad the Bears are for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Let's maybe get some optimism, or maybe not. Justin, what do you got for a score prediction?
I told you last night I'm gonna stick with it. I think the Bears. I don't have enough confidence in the Bears. I think they're going to lose this one 25-22. I think it'll be a close but good game, but I'm just not convinced. I'm not confident in the Bears right now, and I want them to be able to surprise me next week, to be able to be like, wow, they actually won a game, and we actually can start feeling like, we may not go to the playoffs, but we can at least gain some traction and get better. But I just don't know where Ben Johnson's head at. I feel like right now, he's able to – I feel like the relationship between him and Caleb are starting to grow and get better. But like we said before, there's no way we can come out here and only play one quarter of the game well. Like, we got to play all 4 quarters well, and we have to be able to defend on the other side too. So it's really all about, it's a mindset thing. How is Ben Johnson rallying his troops? How is the offensive coordinator getting his play calls, or how is Ben Johnson controlling that? So I think if we lose this one, which I predict that we will, I think there will be more pressure on him, more pressure on Caleb. It'll be the fire Ben Johnson, get rid of Caleb, start Bagent,
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know. You dude, it's coming. Oh. The more we go downhill and the more that we lose, it's just gonna get to that level. And I don't want it to get to that level. I want Caleb Williams to go out there and win and be able to prove us all wrong. I'm really hoping he does, but I got to stick with what I've seen so far and not just optimism, and say that I don't know when the next time that we'll get a win. I mean, it doesn't get better after that week either. So that's my prediction.
I'll counter your pessimism, which warranted pessimism, I will say. Yeah. With a little optimism. I think the Bears take this one.
Okay.
I'm going 28-24. Listen, part of me thinks that the Bears finally get the ship back on course. Yeah. They bounce back. They rally. And part of me also thinks that the Cowboys' defense is just so bad to the point where this is going to be their best opportunity to get it back in a few games.
Yeah.
I think the defense Again, we talked about how mad the Lions were. I think the defense is now mad. They're embarrassed. No pun intended.
Yeah.
But I think that the Bears do just enough to beat a Cowboys team. Again, if not for Brandon Aubrey being a god at kicking a football, tying the game on a 64-yard field goal, and then winning it on a 52-yarder, they lose to the Giants at home. Like, this is a very beatable Dallas Cowboys team. I think the Bears win 28-24. I think the score goes over. I think Caleb has his best game of the year. I think, some of the pressure, like you said, is taken off the plate of, okay, they lost to two NFC powerhouses from last season, but they beat the team they were supposed to beat. All of a sudden, you're 1-2. You got the Raiders coming up. Who knows how they're going to look? I know they play tonight. But I think that they start to get the season turned around. I'll switch my tone a little bit. I'll be a little bit more optimistic. But that's going to do it, I think, for this episode, guys. Justin, I don't know if you had anything else to add to the conversation or any predictions you want, any hot takes you want to throw out. What's the over-under on, well, I guess if Jalen Johnson doesn't play, what's the over-under on CeeDee Lamb receiving yards? 150?
Whoa, no. I definitely don't want 150. I think if Jalen Johnson does play, I think I think he'll get under 100. I feel like I put my confidence in Jalen Johnson. I think he'll be able to slow him down. I think, Dak Prescott's going to target him all night. So I'm not, this isn't like it's JJ McCarthy. This is Dak Prescott. He's going to make sure he finds his receiver. So I definitely think he'll at least get a couple of catches and maybe a touchdown too if Jalen Johnson is falling asleep. But
yeah. So I know Jalen Johnson's dealing with that groin injury, so that'll be a big thing to watch. But yeah, that's gonna do it, guys. What a week to be a Bears fan.
Yeah,
what a week. My mental health is doing great. Thank you for asking. Again, we are live on ACTV. We're also on Bears Talk today. We're also live on TikTok. Justin, thank you for setting up the TikTok tripod over there. That's going to do it for this week. Again, we will be live next Monday to talk about the Dallas game. And who knows? Maybe I get kicked off the air. Maybe
it'll just be me. We'll have to find
if Caleb throws 3 interceptions to Matty Eberfluz's defense. It's going to get scary.
That's all I'm saying.
It might just be Justin next week. Who knows? I might have to put myself into I might have to stop watching football for a little bit. Just cool off. Just cool off a little bit.
Whoa.
But yeah, that's going to do it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next week.
See ya.